Ever stop and wonder what's actually holding together those massive, super complex apps you use every single day? Well, it's not magic, it's architecture. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on software's secret blueprints, these foundational patterns that pretty much shape our entire digital world. Let's kick things off with a simple question.
I mean, really think about it. That social media app you get lost in for hours, or that shopping site where you can buy just about anything, how does all of that work without just completely falling apart? It's like a giant puzzle with millions of little pieces all moving at once.
Well, just like you wouldn't build a skyscraper without a detailed blueprint, you can't build good software without one either. In our world, these blueprints are called architectural patterns. They are the fundamental structure that everything else is built on top of.
All right, first up, let's dive into the classic, the original powerhouse design. This is what we call the all-in-one approach, or more formally, the monolithic architecture. So, as the name kind of suggests, a monolithic system is built as one single, giant, self-contained unit. Just imagine a social media app where everything, user profiles, the newsfeed, direct messages, photo uploads, it's all tangled together in one big ball of code. It's basically the digital version of having every single department of a company working in one massive open-plan room.
But what happens when that giant room gets too crowded and chaotic? What if you'd rather have a team of specialists where everyone has their own specific job? Well, that brings us to the modern challenger, microservices. With this approach, the app is broken down into a whole bunch of small, totally independent services. A great example of this is Netflix. Think about it. Their video streaming is one service, their billing is another, and their recommendation engine is yet another. They all talk to each other through a central API gateway, which is kind of like a traffic cop directing requests, but otherwise they run on their own, each with its own database.
And right there, that's the huge difference in philosophy. The monolith is one big, tightly woven fabric. Microservices are more like a fleet of small, fast boats that coordinate with each other. And trust me, this choice has massive implications for how software gets built, updated, and even how it grows. So while monoliths and microservices are the two big philosophies, they are definitely not the only tools in the toolbox. Now let's take a quick look at a few other specialized blueprints that are designed for more specific kinds of jobs. First, we've got the layered pattern. This one is all about organization. Seriously, just picture a layer cake. Each layer has its own job, and it really only talks to the layers directly above and below it. This is a super common choice for a lot of business apps because it keeps everything neat and tidy. So a typical setup might look something like this. At the very top, you've got the presentation layer. That's the stuff you actually see and click on. Underneath that is the business logic, which is the brains of the operation. It's where all the rules are. And at the bottom, you have the data layers that handle grabbing and storing all the information. It's a really clean, top-to-bottom structure that keeps things from getting messy.
Okay, next up is a really popular one, especially for websites. Model View Controller, or MVC for short. This is another way to keep things separate, but it's focused very specifically on how you, the user, interact with the system.
So let's just walk through it. You're the user, and you click on something you see on the screen. That's the view. The view then yells over to the controller and says, hey, the user did this. The controller then talks to the model, which handles all the data and logic, to figure out what to do. Finally, the answer comes all the way back to the view so you can see the result. It's just this constant, organized little loop. All right, now for something totally different. In an event-driven system, the application, well, it reacts to events. One part of the system, a producer, might create an event like new user signed up. A central event broker, kind of like a public message board, posts that event for everyone to see. Then, any other part of the system that has subscribed to that type of event, like maybe a welcome email service, sees it and jumps into action. It's incredibly dynamic and super flexible.
And finally, let's touch on a common pattern for managing databases. It's historically been called master-slave, but these days you'll often hear it called primary replica. The idea is you have one main primary database that is the single source of truth. It then copies or replicates all of its data to one or more secondary databases. This is a fantastic way to speed things up for users who are just reading data, and it means you've always got a backup ready to go.
So, we've just zipped through a handful of these core blueprints, but this isn't just some abstract academic discussion. Picking the right one has huge real-world consequences. So what does this all matter so much?
It's because that first choice of architecture, it sets the stage for everything that comes after. It determines how the software can grow, how easy it's going to be to fix or update, and how well it performs when things get busy. It's all about planning for the future.
And when software architects are making this big decision, they're usually juggling three key things. First, scalability. Can this thing handle 1 million users tomorrow if we suddenly go viral? Second, maintainability. Can we add a new feature without breaking the whole system? And third, performance. Is it fast? Is it responsive?
And this table here really sums up the big trade-off perfectly. With a monolith, it can be tough to scale because you have to scale the entire application at once, and making a change in one tiny corner can be risky for the whole system. But with microservices, you can scale just the one little service that's getting hammered with traffic, and you can update it all by itself. Of course, that flexibility brings a whole new layer of complexity. There's really no single best answer, just the best answer for a specific problem.
So the next time you open up your favorite app, just take a second and think about the invisible blueprint holding that whole thing together. Is it one massive, powerful monolith, or is it a nimble team of microservices all working in concert? The architecture might be hidden, but believe me, it defines your entire experience.